Why commitment phobia?
I was having a conversation with someone last week, and she said, I don't know why, I'm just like, I have a phobia around commitment. And I go, God, that'd be a really great topic for an episode. She goes, oh, that'd be really good. Let me know when it's on. Hey, everyone, this is Becky.
And I'm Angie.
And welcome to Real Talk with Beckie and Angie. I did a little research for our episode, and I was very surprised, not really, that there's an actual name for it. And it's called, if I was wearing my glasses, I could actually see, gamophobia is the fear of commitment, of relationship. So I think I might be using commitment phobic wrong, because it sounds like it's actually only the fear of being in a committed relationship.
Okay.
Where I kind of use it interchangeably throughout, like not making a commitment to exercise or not making a commitment to
a program or goals.
A program or something. So I think I kind of use it on a lot of things, but that's really what that means. So I feel like for years I told myself the story that I can't make a commitment. I'm not good at commitments. I was married twice. I only dated. I mean, I only got married. I didn't date. And then, but yet I've been married for over 20 years. So clearly it's working out. So evidently I can do commitments, but that's a story I told myself for years. So I thought, let's give it a go. What made you agree to it? What's funny, but here's the funny part. You and I had a conversation, a Zoom conversation. And I said, I'm thinking about commitment phobic as a topic. And you said, okay. About 10 minutes later, you go, what was the topic? And I said, commitment phobic. And you go, oh, that's right. And so then about 4 days later in a text, you said, what was our topic? And I said, commitment phobic. And I'm like, is she having a commitment issue with this? So what comes up for you around that?
I'm just so busted. Oh my God. I actually thought the same thing. It was like when you told me in the text, I was like, oh, that's funny. How is it that I don't remember that? And so I did the same thing. I started researching. I'm like, okay, commitment phobia. First thing that comes up for me is around relationship. And I'm like, what is she getting at? What is she getting at? My first thing.
You thought I had an agenda.
Yes, of course. I mean,
wow.
Who doesn't? No, I did. I was like, why? Why is she picking this? And then I thought, okay. So I started doing research, and I do a lot of voice text to ask questions and, to typing it all out. So my question was, what is commitment phobia? Goes into this whole thing, right, about relationships. And I'm hearing relationships. And then I said, is there a different kind of commitment phobia that is not related to personal relationships? Well, yes, there is. And then it went into the whole thing about not setting goals or not committing to events, not committing to meeting with friends, things like that, because they have a commitment phobia. So anyway, I was looking at it, and it was more than that. Anyway, I looked at it, and I was listening to it actually, and it was saying that all the different ways that commitment phobia shows up. However, they are it's not clinical, but they are tied to multiple, I don't want to say multiple personality disorders, but it is. Yes. So commitment phobia is most prevalent in borderline personality disorder. So, and it's not diagnosed according to, all the diagnostic stuff, but it is commonly connected to borderline personality disorder. That's what I found out about it. So there's all the study stuff I did on it.
Wow. I'm thinking, oh my God, do I have borderline person? So, okay. I feel like, okay, come on in the expert. Oh, that would be Google. Today, the expert is Google. Okay, Google. It did activate my phone.
That is funny.
So this is what I got. I'll just share what my research is. But this is more around the relationship commitment phobic.
Okay.
You avoid making plans. You avoid serious relationships. You don't plan a future in your relationship. You spend a lot of time questioning things. You feel trapped. So I'm reading that, and I'm like, I've been in relationships where I feel that way. Then there's this other side of me that's like, well, either I'm not really into that person, or they're not really that into me, and it's just not jiving. It really doesn't have anything to do with commitment phobic. So, like, how could you really analyze? This is where the expert needs to come in. How can you really analyze, like, what makes it qualify as, or that person as someone who's truly a phobic of being in a committed relationship? So, Angie, what are your thoughts?
I think if somebody is truly phobic, they would avoid more than, I mean, this list would be exhaustive. So where there's a few things like, I'm looking at a list, to avoid serious relationships, don't plan a future in the relationships, feeling trapped, and don't have a lot of close friends. To be truly phobic, the only thing I could say is it's a much deeper level. Like there's things I just don't want to do. There's things I just don't, there's people I just don't want to be around. But that doesn't mean that, to me, that doesn't mean that I'm phobic. Now, I don't know. Yeah, see, and I looked at it, I didn't know that you were going to go into relationships. So let's kind of like go into relationships. I didn't realize we were going to do relationships. I thought, really, truly, I thought you may have been having maybe clients that wouldn't commit to goals or wouldn't commit to programs or things like that. I'm like, that's got to be where she's going. But no, it's on
I don't even
relationships.
remember who it was. I don't remember. If you're listening and it was the conversation with you, please say it was with me, because I completely forgot who that was. No, it was really more around just making commitments in general.
Okay, and commitments in general. Because I was going to say, I questioned it when I saw it. Like, people will ask me, do you think you and Jake will get married? I don't know. And it's not that I don't want to get married but I don't know. I don't know why we would get married. I don't know why we wouldn't get married. It's not, things are good. And I don't know that it's absolutely necessary. I have a different outlook. You've been married. This is your third marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have been married and divorced 3 times. So I'm ahead of you. And in the last relationship was 20 years. But yeah, I don't think I'm not commitment phobic. In fact, I probably commit too quick. Ooh, is that a thing too? Holy crap. Is that a thing?
What do you mean you commit too fast? Like you're like, I'm in, sign me up. What do you mean you commit too fast?
Yeah. If I feel it, I'm in. Mm-hmm. I don't have to go. Somebody told me that they're always looking for the evidence. I am not always looking for the evidence. I go with my gut. And am I always right? Absolutely 100% not. Not 100% not. Absolutely not. I probably jump quicker than hold back.
Okay, so on that vein, because I do the same, on that vein, then once you're in, are you like, oh, shoot, I don't really want to be in. How do I get out? Like, see, that's where for me is where the commitment. Oh, shoot, I've made a commitment. I don't know if I want to stay in this. What do I do? So is that, do you find yourself there, or once you're in all in?
Okay. Old Angie, previous Angie, which was like months ago, Angie, I would have stayed no matter what. If I committed, I committed. I'm going to do it. Now, I think a commitment, is about procrastination. We talked about it on that if it's just affecting me and it's not going to affect someone else, I'll switch. I'll change. It's like, this is not serving me. I'm going to do something else. If I'm committed to someone else, I'll fulfill that commitment. But here's what I've recently learned how to do. I will renegotiate the commitment so that it does serve me and the other party or the other person as well. And I think I explained with the working with DFW Rescue Me, the structure of the meetings and the restaurant and the environment and that whole atmosphere wasn't serving me to be part of the group. But when I said, this is how I can contribute and still be part of it and fulfill my commitment, I rocked it. I was able to do far more than I would have doing it a different way. So I fulfilled a commitment, but I just it looked a different way. So that's new. I don't feel like I have to. I could have in that situation just stuck through it and just been miserable. And not, it's miserable because it's a brain thing for me, but just, if you're miserable, how are you serving others? So do you just stick with it? What do you do?
I recently, 6 months ago, I made a commitment to something. And a few weeks into it, I'm like, I'm not committed. I'm not committed. And choosing out was a big deal. It wasn't like I just called up one person and said, sorry, I'm out. It was a big deal. I had a commitment with lots of people and got to have many conversations over and over again. In fact, the thought of having all those conversations actually kept me thinking that I should stay in. But then thinking about it being a 6-month commitment, I wasn't committed. And so I got to go through that and get out of it. And it was a great opportunity to use all my tools in my toolbox, and continues to be. However, I think I didn't forgive myself for it. Like, I'm like, gosh, this is evidence that I can't keep a commitment. This is repeated evidence that I can't keep a commitment. And I think that's also why 29029 for me is I'm keeping a commitment to myself. And I think from what I hear people say and myself, oftentimes it's the commitment that you keep to yourself that you break more often than the commitment that you make to other people, because who knows? Nobody knows. If I get up and say, hey, I'm going to go do 1,000 box steps out there and do the circuit and do hip and mobility. And I'm like, hey, I kind of don't feel like doing it. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So I think that I'm not even sure if I've answered your question, but I rattled on there.
No, it's good. It's good okay. Content. It's very valuable.
Okay.
I have to commend you on having those difficult conversations. For the situation you were in, the commitment you had made, and recognizing that you weren't all in, not only for you, but for the people that you would have been serving. Let's put it that way. You would not have been all in. You would not have been giving them your all. And that would have been cheating them in holding space that someone else could fulfill. Whether somebody else did fulfill it or not doesn't matter. But if you weren't going to go into it fully committed, that wasn't fair to all others, including yourself.
Right.
So I commend you on that. And I know it wasn't easy.
Yeah, that was a very tough decision. And I'm so grateful I made that decision. Often on the regular. Yeah. And I think that getting into something that you committed to, and then when you're in it and you're like, I didn't know it was going to be this much of a commitment, or I didn't know it was going to be that. And then when you get into it and you want to out, that's where you go, okay, do I just endure and live through it and keep my commitment? Or that's the area that I feel is the juiciest and the most difficult. I'm going to use the word difficult to go, okay, do I stay here and endure? And I think it kind of depends on the situation. If you're in a situation where, like, I'm a total introvert. And when I get to a party, kind of one of the first things I think of is, how long do I have to stay?
Can I just do this real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thanks for the eye roll. Like, I'll be thinking, how long do I have to stay before it's okay for me to go? Like, that's my thinking. So I've made a commitment to the party. How long do I have to stay before it's okay for me to go? And I also might go and have a great time and never want to leave. So yet it's that whole, once you're in it, how do you get out of it? I think that's where the rubber meets the road. And that's where we can have a conversation.
And so for me, I will use DFW Rescue Me as the because it's the most recent, and it was a really, really big decision for me. They invited me to be part of the fundraising committee for the biggest fundraiser they have every year. I've been involved with them for, I'm going to say, at least maybe 10 years. And so when I started going to these meetings, and it was needles, and you use this, needles in the eyes moments. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be here there for all these reasons. And then when I started getting ready to go, I started having anxiety about what what I was going to encounter. For me to sit down and write the text to the founder of DFW Rescue Me and said, I will not be attending any more of the actual meetings. Here's how I would like to contribute. I don't think that I could have just said, I'm out. I was really happy and felt good about that. I found a way to contribute in a different way. However, if that wouldn't have been an option, I still would have had to have made that decision for me, that wasn't serving me to be in that space. It just wasn't. And we have to have the confidence in ourselves, but also the relationship. So I know that the relationship I have with, his name's Jim, and to his wife, Tammy, I know that relationship I have with them, that if I chose out, they would know that I'm not just blowing them off. It would be from a place from my heart, that I couldn't do it. It's never easy, though. It's never easy. I mean, I don't know how many times I reworked that draft or that before I sent that text, because it's not something, it's not easy. It doesn't come natural to do. Like, well, the juiciest part, how did you actually get to a place where you got the comfort or the confidence, what was it that you felt that you were able to have those difficult conversations, multiple conversations?
I asked myself,
and why? That's another part of it. And why? Why have those conversations? Why not just be like, no show?
Oh, that wasn't an option. That wasn't an option.
Right. Just no show. Just go dark.
No. That was not an option. No. And they don't deserve that. I wouldn't do that. Not that I'm choosy in who I would do that to and who I wouldn't do that to.
Not them, but them.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't ghost anyone, or like, what is up with that? Why do people, like, recently I had some people, I sent a message that, do you want to be beta testers for my high performance coaching program? And I had lots of people say, yes, I'm interested. And then when it came down to it, maybe they changed their mind, which is fine. They didn't get back to me. One person in particular did. Yes, I really want to do this. This sounds great. And I'm like, okay, is this the time slot you want? Or would you like this time slot? I didn't hear back from her. I sent her another message. Didn't hear back from her. Just say, I changed my mind.
But that can be so hard, because you're not only denying you, that person's denying herself. If I'm assuming a female, I think you said female. So it would require her to actually say, no, I don't want to better my situation. Just don't say anything at all.
No, thank you. I've decided I'm not interested. I'm not interested.
I get that on your perspective, on your side. That would be great. But think about it, like, to actually say that, it's not just about you, it's about her. Okay. Yeah. Anyway,
side note.
What made you decide?
You asked me, what helped me get out of that commitment, is I thought it was a 6-month commitment. Can I just put my head down and do this for 6 months? Or would I rather endure 15 to 20 phone calls or text messages?
That's horrific in itself, though, by the way. That sounds horrible, but it does sound better than 6 months.
I made the first call. The first call was definitely the hardest, because I'm like, okay, let me eat my frog right now. Which one's the frog? And I called, and I was clear by that point. I wasn't on the fence. I was no longer on the fence. I was clear. Made my decision. There was no coaching or negotiating. I was letting them know that I was out by that point.
You had made your choice.
I had made my choice. It was a big deal. It was a big commitment. Is there a difference between big commitments and small commitments? Is it like, well, it was just a small commitment, so it didn't really matter? Well, commitments are commitments, and it's integrity. So I feel like, if it was a lunch with somebody and I got to renegotiate it, I don't feel like that's any less of a commitment than the other thing. It was just a lot more time. Lunch is an hour and a half.
And I don't necessarily agree.
You think there's a difference between, there are big commitments and small commitments?
100%.
Really?
Well, I do. I mean, Not to say that I'm going to diminish, like, well, if we're going to have lunch, I'm going to diminish you in that, like if I need to renegotiate lunch with you, or I need to be at the hospital with my mom, for instance, that's a bigger commitment. That has more weight, that has more lasting impact than us having lunch. Commitments, yes, there's still commitments, but I feel like there is a scale of what those commitments, the weight of those commitments, or the significance.
And I knew that going in. So it's not like I went in with a blindfold and said, oh, yeah, I'll do that. No, I knew what I was committing to going in. So I full on responsibility. I own it. I knew it. And once I got in, I was like,
And you voted for yourself.